And now, what I usually do, because I'm a mobile hairdresser, I go to people's houses, what I usually do in between that processing time is I'll take them through this sheet that I've made. I'm going to include this for you. And it's just a really good thing to hand to your client, and it's like an instruction manual on how to look after their hair. So the number one thing that I recommend is that they only wash their hair once a week and that they use dry shampoo to help them to make it to the once a week. Next is cold water. They must only use cold water to wash their hair because this will keep the cuticles shut and help the colour last them longer. And the big secret that I give to my clients and that I use myself is actually called co-shampooing. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically using conditioner instead of shampoo to wash and clean your hair. And the reason this works is because it keeps the cuticles shut. Therefore, keeps your colour lasting you a lot longer. You do have to be a lot more thorough with your co-shampoo. You have to manually rub and scrub your hair because you don't have the lather like you do in a shampoo. I will typically recommend anyone who's had bleach to use treatment now instead of their conditioner. And I'll also just give them a little bit of a list of things like what not to do, things to avoid, and those are the obvious ones like going into the pool, washing your hair every day, going into the ocean, using, terrible cheap products, lots of things like that, and white linen as well. You just want to let them know to be aware. And by handing this to them, they've just got a reference because it can be a lot. Sometimes I feel like I bombard people with information. So it's just good little habit to get into. And now we are at the rinsing. So I am using cold water. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world for your client, but I lead by example. There's no use me telling them to use cold water at home and then not following that rule. So always cold water. You want to have a fair amount of pressure to really just push that colour out, get it out as quick as possible. And I will not shampoo at this stage. Very, very rarely, like next to never will I shampoo. Because you just don't want to risk those colours mixing. That's my bath. Once I feel like I've got most of it out, I'll go back in and I will give it a bit of a scrub. And if there's any bubbling, then I know that I haven't got it out yet. See here how I thought it was out, and then I gave it a bit of a rub and I'm starting to get some bubbling. So I know that the product is still well and truly in there, so I need to give it another go. Usually I'll go through this about 2 or 3 times before I get the product out. If I want to do a treatment, I might do a treatment, but most of the time I feel that the hair has been sitting in conditioner for 20 minutes and it feels nice and soft anyway. You'd be surprised how effective a co-shampoo can actually be. A lot of this colour that's on the scalp will just rub off. And so that's not shampoo or conditioner in there, that is just the product. That's just the remaining residue from the colours. I haven't put anything in the hair. So scrub and rinse, scrub and rinse. It's a process. So long as you're thorough though, your clients won't leave feeling greasy. And another thing I might just add is if anyone asks me how long these colours usually last, I will just generally tell them 4 to 8 weeks is about normal. I certainly do have clients that last longer than that. Like I've had clients go to 12 weeks easy if they are following the steps. But as a general rule of thumb, I like to say 4 to 8, and I feel like that keeps me safe and it's realistic expectations. It's a good way to avoid disappointed customers by doing up, you might want to do up your own little hair care sheet and just taking 5 minutes to just explain that to them. Just explain exactly what they need to do. Because although it's not your fault if they go home and use, cheap drugstore stuff, if you haven't told them, then it kind of is. Finished result. So you can see what a difference that colour, putting that colour on her dark roots has made. Now this is just a towel. I don't have any product on here, nothing fancy. It's just a dry towel, and all I'm doing is rubbing her scalp. Most of these direct dyes actually come off the scalp really easily. They stain the skin, but they come off the scalp quite easily. So just give it a rub. I just give it a rub through the part where I'm going to see it, just so that it's going to look neat and tidy for my photo. Now I'm putting in a nice leave-in treatment and heat protector. And I'm just going to give her a nice smooth blow dry. You don't need to see that, I'm sure.